So the idea is, in short, was that most of the people that I deal with, they lack this skill. They're not closers, they're not influencers, they're not salespeople. And I have to tell you this, some people think sales is a dirty word. Selling is everything in life. Either you're selling, meaning you're influencing, persuading, or you're failing. Either you're selling someone on that your ideas and concepts make sense, your products make sense. You're selling your kids to make their better, do their homework. Doesn't matter what line of work you're in with your children, your spouse, you're always influencing and conveying your thoughts, your concepts, and trying to do it in a way that connects with another human being and empowers them, but also gets you what you want in life too. That's what influencing is all about. And I will tell you that you might have heard this from other places, that there's a force inside of you, and once you unleash that force, you can accomplish anything in life. It's a cliche. It's a cliche. But here's the deal. There actually is a force. And the way you wake it up is by influencing one person first. And who's that? Yourself. You have to convince yourself that you are the shit, that you have everything it takes to achieve massive wealth and success. And if you don't have one specific skill set here, if you lack a specific skill, you fucking go out and get it. You perfect it. There are two types of people in the world. I'll tell you exactly who they are. I have 4 boards up here for a reason. We'll get to that. I'm going to give you tons of content today. So there's 2 types of people. You have people on one side who have reasons. And there are some people in this room that are reason people. They tell you all the fucking reasons why they can't become successful, why they can't get what they want in life. There are those people in this room. If I give you the greatest idea in the world, the greatest opportunity, you'll say, well, I got to travel somewhere, or it's going to cost me some money to lay out, or then I have to drop what I'm doing now, or put an extra 3 hours with, neglect my kids. I'll give you an example. I was getting a massage. I stayed, the Del Coronado Hotel? Right, the beautiful hotel. I'm getting a massage, and of course she starts to ask me questions. What do you do? So I told her what I do. She says, oh my God, I'm an entrepreneur. And she tells me some detailed story about how she has this business where she takes these shirts, and they're healing shirts. She puts like stones on them or something, right? And they go for your chakras, like the 7 or 10 chakras, whatever it might be. I'm not an expert in this stuff. She's telling me the whole thing. Like, wow, good, sounds really good. Right? I said, so how many shirts are you selling? Oh, none. No, I'm not selling any yet. I'm like, well, why not? She says, well, I really don't like to sell. I'm like, I said, okay. I said, so what do you do? She was like, I got all these shirts made, and they're in my house, and it's really unbelievable. I have a website I'm launching. I'm like, what, right? I said, she goes, but I have someone who can sell. They're a real estate person, but they're busy right now. They're going to stop their real estate soon and start. And what I heard, now just to cut it short, for 10 minutes, I heard all the freaking reasons why she couldn't actually go out and start the business. She didn't say, when she said I couldn't sell, it's not, she goes, I'm just not a salesperson. I'm not like that. That's a load of crap. That's a loser's mentality. Sales, influence, persuasion, it's an entirely learnable skill. It's the single most important skill in your life you can ever master. You have marketing on one side, and on the other side, you have sales, influence, let's call it persuasion. One without the other, and you're knocking your head against the wall, and you're saying, what the hell? Why am I not getting the result? You could have the best marketing out there, but if you can't sell anything, you got a problem. There's no close in what you're putting out into the world. People just don't buy. A couple will, not many. Conversely, with sales, you can actually, in the absence of any marketing, still make money as sales. It's just really fucking hard. You got to bang your head against the wall. You got to bang on doors. You got to constantly cold call. Everything is cold, right? The idea, though, is to go hand in hand, to have a kick-ass marketing program and to be able to actually take that and fucking close. If you have both of those distinctions, then you will absolutely soar to success. Not just in your financial life, in your personal life, in your relationships with other people. It's ridiculous. It's the most important question that you have to ask yourself when you take an action. What's the worst that can possibly happen? And it's also what you have to remember that's on the mind of every person you're trying to influence. What is the worst that can possibly happen. We're fear-based creatures. Just understand that and accept it. Human beings are fear-based creatures. It's wired into our reptilian brain. We'll always have this downside movie we're playing. When you're trying to influence somebody, not only do you have to create the massive upside and show the value, you also have to eliminate the downside risk too, or minimize it, mitigate it. So when they run the parallel movies, boom, logically and importantly, emotionally, it makes sense to close. Makes sense to everybody? Yes? Yes. Excellent. So here's the deal. So today, what I want to really focus on here is persuasion. In order to achieve mastery in business and in life, especially with money and success, you need to understand this, that you have two worlds that you need to operate in. You need to operate, firstly, in the inner world, which is what goes on right between your ears, right here, the inner game of wealth and success. And I want to talk about it in terms of persuasion. I said before, the first person you have to persuade is who? Yourself, right? Fair enough. Now, there are certain basic concepts that you've probably heard before in terms of the importance of being able to manage your state. Raise your hand if you've heard that before. State management, important, right? Okay, this goes back, state management, to the beginning of time. Before Gladiators, in the movie The Gladiator, he bends down and he picks up some dirt and starts rubbing it in his hands and gets himself into a state for war, to get ready to fight. Every time in that movie he has an anchor he's firing off. He puts dirt in his hands. Indians would put war paint on their face to get themselves into an emotionally charged state. So I didn't invent state management here. What I'm telling you is this: it's fucking crucial to be able to trigger the right state in the right moment for influence, persuasion / sales. There are 3 states that you need to trigger when you want them. Not always, but in the key moments when it really matters. When you pick up the phone, when you get that first moment face-to-face, you have to be in the right state. So I'm going to show you some ways to do that and what those states are. Next is your beliefs. Also, something, of course, we've heard before. Basically that, we are the sum of our beliefs about what the world is, how we operate in the world. And I look at beliefs like this. We have, of course, the empowering beliefs that lead us to wealth and success. And we have the disempowering beliefs that lead us to poverty, misery, and failure. We all have limiting beliefs which hurt us. And in the end of the day, you're always held down by your lowest level limiting belief. It's the one that's at the bottom that stops you. Imagine a Ferrari. You have a Ferrari. It's a beautiful red Ferrari, right? So it has this beautiful chassis, this 455 horsepower engine, 12 cylinders, 4 valves per, capable of 300 miles an hour. Who knows how many miles an hour it can go, right? But if there's a governor on the engine stopping the flow of gas, it's not going over 55. That's what a limiting belief does for you, or does to you. It stops you from charging forward when you should and causes you to slide backwards and move backwards when you shouldn't. There are 3 core beliefs, 3 of them, that you need to have as an entrepreneur. If you have the opposite, which would be the limiting form of that belief, you're fucked. No offense, you just are. Because you will end up charging away when you should plow forward, and you won't move forward when you should. You'll sit there in a box and say, what the hell? You'll be nervous, and I'll get to that, what those beliefs are. I don't have time for all of them. I'll get to at least one of them and show you how to break it right here in this room. So that's our beliefs. Next, we have what's called your thermostat, or your standards in life. Thermostat or your standards. And your standards, who's heard of this? Raise your hand if you heard of it. Say aye. Aye. Great. Very basic concept here, but what I want to do now is take these things to a new level and apply them directly for persuasion. How you use this shit to actually become the best persuader you can possibly be. So we have this issue of standards, your thermostat, where it is that you feel comfortable in life, especially financially. Everybody has a different level. Me, it's very, very high, as you know from my book. If I'm not making 8, 10 million a year, I'm saying I'm fucking not, I'm desperate at what I do. I'm running 1,000 miles an hour to get to that $10 million a year mark. That's it. Other people say, what are you, crazy? If I had $500,000 a year, I'd be thrilled. So what your standards are, essentially, are the things that you must have in life. So financial standard would be a certain amount of money. An emotional standard might be a certain amount of peace in your life, a relationship with another person, whatever it might be. And there are people with, again, high standards and people with very low standards. The beauty of this room is the fact that you're sitting here means that you already have your standards at almost, if not the highest level. So typically, it's not what's holding people in this room back. Other rooms, different. You have high standards. What's holding you back from getting what you want in life is other things. But we're going to hit on standards anyway because I want you to understand the power of it and to make sure that if you ever see yourself sliding back down and dropping your standards for any reason at all, how devastating that could be to you going forward. Because here's what happens. We have a thermostat, right? And it's set for a certain amount of money. Let's say it's for $1 million a year. And if you go on for a long time and that's your thermostat, 1 million, but you can't hit it. Because let's say you're missing something on the you're the worst, as Frank said, you can't sell your way out of a paper bag, so you can't get to this point. After a while, your brain starts saying, fuck this, this hurts too much, and you lower your standards. You say, I'll be happy with making $200,000 a year. So you lower your standards, and all of a sudden, if that doesn't work, you lower them again and again, and before you know it, you're operating like one of these people who's no longer an entrepreneur, but's ready to go work for a fucking paycheck for $40,000 a year and work 40 hours a week, which is fucking insanity to me. That's the danger of dipping your standards even a little bit, because you never know when disaster is going to strike. This shit happens in life, right? You're walking along the street, bam, you get hit between the eyes with a lump of shit, right? It just happens. And if you're one of those people that's going to say, fuck it, I might as well just settle for less, you're done. So you have your standards. Next thing, and the last thing on the inner world I want to focus on here is actually focus. Okay, what I want to show you and share with you in terms of a strategy and through stories and metaphors, which are very powerful, is the power of having a laser-guided focus on where it is you want to go versus what it is you're afraid of in life. Focusing on where you want to go versus what you're afraid of. Because you end up going where you focus. So many people, it's called living in the problem versus the solution. So we're going to go into that in intimate detail.